Right now, as you listen to this, you actually have about 41% fewer neurons in your brain than a newborn baby, which, I mean, it sounds like terrible news,
Oh,
right?
it really does. It sounds awful. But that biological loss is actually your secret weapon to finally learning a new language.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. Because, if you've ever tried to learn a new language, you know the traditional approach just feels like trying to eat an entire wedding cake in a single bite.
Right, totally impossible.
Yeah, you assume you need like endless free time, thousands of flashcards, and this brutal daily study schedule just to even get off the ground.
And then, life gets in the way, you miss a day, the guilt sets in, and the whole endeavor just completely collapses.
Exactly. So today, our mission is to slice that cake into incredibly manageable, scientifically backed slivers.
Mm.
We are taking a stack of research from behavioral psychology, neuroscience, and the personal routines of world-class polyglots.
The heavy hitters.
Right. To construct the ultimate 30-minute daily routine for a complete language beginner.
And we really mean complete beginner. This is tailored specifically for you, the listener, who probably feels stretched incredibly thin already. You don't need a massive block of free time.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, you just need to hack your morning routine using really small, consistent steps. And the best part, we are completely removing raw motivation from the equation entirely.
Because waiting for motivation is a massive trap. I mean, if I tell myself I'll study when I feel inspired, I'm just going to end up doom scrolling on the couch.
Oh, 100%.
Action has to precede motivation. But before we map out this 30-minute routine, let's go back to that wild statistic. 41% fewer neurons. How does having less brain power actually help me learn Spanish or Japanese?
Well, it comes down to this biological process called synaptic pruning. Researchers at Oxford University demonstrated that babies are born with brains that are kind of like blank canvases.
Okay.
So they have massive numbers of neurons, but very, very weak connections between them.
Like dirt roads.
Exactly. Like dirt roads.
Yeah.
As you age, your brain acts like a highly efficient city planner. It prunes away the unused neural pathways, the quiet dirt roads, and heavily reinforces the ones you use every single day.
Turning them into paved superhighways.
You got it.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. If my brain has already paved its superhighways for English and deleted the extra dirt roads, isn't my adult brain just terrible at learning new tricks?
It seems that way, yeah.
Especially in the morning, because I wake up in a total fog of what you call sleep inertia. Why not wait until 2:00 p.m. when I've had 3 coffees and my brain is actually firing?
I mean, it's completely logical to think the afternoon is better, but you're actually battling two major forces there: decision fatigue and your natural physiology.
Decision fatigue is real.
Oh, it is. By 2:00 p.m., your willpower is just depleted from a whole day of making choices. But more importantly, you miss out on the cortisol awakening response, or CIR.
What exactly is that?
So when you get natural sunlight within the first hour of waking up, your brain triggers this massive, completely natural cortisol spike.
Oh, so that's like our physiological alarm clock.
Exactly. It puts your brain in a state of really high alertness and primes it for synaptic plasticity, which is the literal ability to form new neural connections.
So sleep inertia is real, but it's temporary.
Yes, you feel that sleep drunkenness for the first 15 to 30 minutes maybe,
Yeah.
but beneath that grogginess, your brain's chemistry is sitting at its absolute peak state of readiness to build a new superhighway.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so tackling language practice first thing in the morning capitalizes on that unique chemical window right before the stress of the day just hijacks your attention.
So you can see why the morning is biologically your best window. But, I mean, there's a huge disconnect between knowing my brain is primed for plasticity and actually getting out of bed to learn French verb conjugations.
Right, it sounds awful.
It still feels like a massive heavy lift for 7:00 a.m.
And this is where you have to engineer your behavior. You have to rely entirely on the architecture of tiny habits.
Tiny habits.
Yeah, so behavioral scientist B.J. Fogg at Stanford University created a really simple formula: B equals MAP.
B equals MAP. So what does that stand for?
Behavior equals motivation plus ability plus prompt. Since you already know your motivation at 7:00 a.m. is going to be basically near zero, you have to heavily manipulate the ability in the prompt.
Okay, and I'm assuming manipulating the ability part means making the task incredibly, almost embarrassingly easy.
Literally embarrassingly easy.
Yeah.
You leverage the law of least effort. Your brain is designed to conserve energy. If a task looks hard, it will resist.
Sure, that makes sense.
So you make the task so tiny it requires zero psychological friction. Fogg himself actually built a habit of doing 70 push-ups a day by starting with a goal of just 2 push-ups.
Just two.
Just 2.
Yeah.
And his prompt was an existing daily action. He did them every time he flushed the toilet.
Huh. Okay, James Clear calls that habit stacking, right? Like, after I do my current habit, I will do my new habit.
That is the exact core mechanism. You don't wake up and say, I'm going to study for an hour. You say, after I turn off my alarm, I will press play on a 5-minute audio track.
So it's just tying it to something you're already doing anyway.
Exactly. The goal isn't massive immediate progress. The goal is simply overcoming that initial resistance. Forward momentum naturally takes over once the audio is actually playing.
Okay, so why does starting small matter so much with language specifically? Because whenever I've tried to speak a little bit of a new language in the past, it just feels so mentally exhausting.
Oh, it's draining.
Like, I feel like I'm doing complex algebra in my head just to order a coffee. Why does it drain my batteries so fast?
Because you are caught in a massive cognitive bottleneck. It's known as the translation trap.
The translation trap.
Yeah, think about what your brain is actually doing when you try to order that coffee. It's a brutal 5-step process. First, you hear the foreign word.
Right.
Second, you frantically translate that word into your native language in your head. Third, you formulate your reply in your native language. Fourth, you translate your reply back into the foreign language. And fifth, you finally speak it out loud.
And by the time I've done all that, the barista is just staring at me, the line behind me is groaning, and the conversation has completely moved on.
Exactly. The cognitive load of juggling those 5 steps absolutely drains your brain's glucose levels. It is exhausting.
It really is.
So the tiny, consistent habits we're about to build into your 30-minute morning routine are specifically engineered to train your brain to bypass your native language entirely.
Wow.
The goal is to cut those 5 agonizing steps down to 3 direct ones.
Yeah.
Hear, think, speak.
All right, I am fully on board. Let's actually build this routine. Imagine the alarm goes off. It is minute 0 of the 30-minute blueprint. What is the very first move?
Change your alarm tone.
Change it to what?
Instead of a blaring buzzer, set it to automatically play a foreign language podcast or a song in your target language.
I really like that because there is a distinct difference between the neurological event of waking up and the physical action of getting out of bed.
Exactly.
Your brain is technically awake, you're just lying there, and the language is already flowing into your ears before you've even moved a single muscle.
You are passively absorbing the sounds while the sleep inertia starts to clear. Then, you swing your legs out of bed and head straight to the bathroom.
Okay.
This is your first prompt for habit stacking. You have an automatic routine in there, brushing your teeth, washing your face, looking in the mirror. While your hands are busy, you begin something called contextual anchoring.
Contextual anchoring. How does
Now-
that actually work in practice?
You simply start naming the physical objects around you directly in your target language.
Yeah.
You look at the mirror, you think the word, you touch the sink, you think the word.
Wait, hold on. Am I literally just standing in my bathroom pointing at my soap and my toothbrush?
Yes.
I mean, if I live with other people, they're definitely going to think I've completely lost my mind.
A wall and a like that. Acting a little ridiculous is actually a fantastic learning tool. The morning bathroom routine provides a perfect safe space. The stakes are completely zero. No one is grading you. The grammar police are fast asleep.
Right, it's just you and the sink.
The magic here is in the physical connection. By physically pointing at the bar of soap and thinking the foreign word, say, jabon in Spanish, you are building a direct neural link between the physical object and the new vocabulary.
So I'm basically forcing my brain to skip the English middleman. I'm not seeing the object, thinking the English word soap, and then searching my mental dictionary for jabon.
You bypass the translation trap entirely. The physical sensation anchors the word. And as you get comfortable over a few weeks, you progress from single nouns to simple, present continuous sentences.
Like what? Give me an example.
You feel the water splashing your face and think, the water is cold. You grab your toothbrush and think, I'm brushing my teeth. You are narrating your physical reality in real time.
Okay, so you've just finished in the bathroom. Your brain is fully awake, your cortisol awakening response is peaking, and you head into the kitchen to make some breakfast.
Right.
You're about 10 minutes into the routine, which leaves you a solid 15-minute window while you eat your cereal and drink your coffee. This is where the real heavy lifting begins, right?
This is the core of the routine, yes. You sit down with a short piece of audio and its printed transcript. The sources emphasize a concept from polyglot Steve Kaufman called comprehensible input.
Comprehensible input.
Which just means exposing yourself to language that is slightly above your current level, but still understandable through context.
Yeah.
You pair this with Luca Lampariello's technique called Act 1, deconstruction.
And the specific method the sources recommend for this deconstruction phase is actually fascinating. It's called the forest and the trees method.
Yes.
It involves a process that honestly sounds completely backwards to me. You take your printed transcript, copy it into Google Translate or a similar tool, and then you listen to the audio playing in your native language, English, for example,
Right.
while your eyes follow along with the text written in your target language.
I know it feels entirely counterintuitive to beginners. You think, shouldn't I listen to the foreign audio?
Yeah, wouldn't that make more sense?
But for a complete beginner, listening to a wall of foreign sounds just washes right over you. You don't retain anything. By listening to the English translation while staring at the Spanish or Japanese text, your brain automatically starts mapping the meaning it instantly understands audibly onto the foreign symbols it is reading visually.
I love the visual of that. It's kind of like assembling a piece of IKEA furniture.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
You know, you have to look at the picture on the front of the box, the forest, so you know you're building a bookshelf. You have to know the overall meaning before you start agonizing over sorting the individual screws and wooden pegs, the trees.
The IKEA analogy is spot on. You are capturing the big picture first. And while you do this, you add a tactile element. You take a physical pen and circle, or underline the unknown words on the paper transcript.
But why physically circle them? Why not just use a digital flashcard app while I eat my cereal? Wouldn't that be faster?
The physical act of writing or circling engages your fine motor skills. It connects your hand directly to your brain, creating a physical memory anchor. Yet neurologically, this cements the vocabulary much faster than passively tapping a screen or staring at a digital flashcard. It physicalizes the knowledge.
Okay, so once I have the forest, the general meaning, I need to zoom in on those individual trees I circled. The sources suggest using an intensive input tool like Linguathor to get an interlinear translation.
Yes, interlinear is key.
Can you explain what that actually looks like mechanically? Because it's not just a standard side-by-side translation, is it?
Not at all. Imagine a line of text in French. Directly underneath each individual French word, in much smaller text, is the literal English equivalent. It is word for word stacked right on top of each other.
Right.
This is crucial because different languages have completely different sentence structures.
So instead of a polished English sentence, it might literally read underneath, "The car blue of my friend is broken."
Exactly. And by seeing that stacked visual, you aren't just learning what the sentence means, you are seeing exactly how the mechanics of the language actually work. You are inferring the grammar rules contextually.
Which is huge, because I noticed the polyglots in the sources generally avoid isolated grammar drills entirely.
They avoid them entirely in the beginning, yeah. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. It learns best through meaning and context, not by memorizing a sterile list of verb conjugations.
Right, like reciting charts.
Exactly. You figure out the rules of the game by watching it being played in front of you. That 15-minute breakfast session gives you a deep contextual understanding of a small piece of the language without ever touching a grammar textbook.
So you've narrated your bathroom routine, you've deconstructed a transcript over coffee, and now you have 5 minutes left. You are 25 minutes into the 30-minute block. It's time to get up from the table and actually activate what you've learned.
Right. This brings in the 80-20 rule. 80% of your 30 minutes was spent on input, listening, and reading. That builds your internal database. But the final 20%, these last 5 minutes, must be dedicated to output.
Meaning speaking.
Speaking. Following the Pareto principle, this small portion is where the real activation happens, and it should be the most dynamic part of your entire routine.
And the ultimate technique for this activation phase is something called shadowing. Basically, you listen to the foreign language audio and you repeat it out loud with about a half-second to a full second delay. You are trying to act like a vocal mirror.
You are mimicking everything, not just the vocabulary, but the prosody.
Let's define prosody for a second, because that's a term that gets thrown around a lot in these language circles. We're talking about the musicality of the language, right?
Yes, the specific rise and fall of the pitch, the rhythm, the intonation, how native speakers actually talk in real life, which is very different from how robots read text. By shadowing, you are training your mouth muscles to produce those specific physical sounds.
Right.
There's actually a famous hyperglot named Alexander Arguel who has studied dozens of languages, and he uses this technique religiously. But he doesn't just sit at a desk. He shadows while walking swiftly outside, maintaining perfect posture, speaking loudly and clearly.
Wait, doing this while speed walking outside? That sounds incredibly intense for a beginner who just finished their morning coffee. I mean, if I'm shadowing an Italian podcast while power walking down my suburban street, my neighbors are definitely going to call someone.
Oh, they probably will.
Can't I just shadow while sitting comfortably on my couch before I leave for work?
You can absolutely do it on the couch, but there is a profound physiological reason Argyll's walks. Combining physical movement with vocalization is a massive multiplier for cognitive absorption.
Really?
Yeah, when you walk swiftly, you increase blood flow and oxygen to your brain. This heightened state of cardiovascular alertness significantly improves your brain's ability to encode memories.
So it physically locks the sounds into my muscle memory much faster.
Significantly faster. Even if you don't go outside, just pacing back and forth in your living room while shadowing the audio makes a tremendous difference compared to slouching in a chair.
Okay, I think I can handle pacing in my living room, but what about the fear factor? Shadowing a recording is one thing, but actually speaking to a human being is terrifying for most of us.
Oh, it's paralyzing.
The fear of sounding stupid is just so real.
And that fear is the #1 reason people quit, which is why the sources highly recommend replacing the human initially. You use AI conversation partners like Langua or TalkPal for this 5-minute output block.
Oh, right. So you get to practice having a real-time, dynamic conversation with an AI. There is zero pressure, zero embarrassment if you forget a word, and the AI gives you instant feedback on your pronunciation.
It's an absolute game changer for speaking anxiety. You can stumble, pause for 10 seconds to think, make mistakes, and correct yourself in a completely judgment-free zone. It perfectly rounds out the physical activation of those final 5 minutes.
So let's look at what you've just accomplished. We promised a custom 30-minute blueprint, and it's incredibly practical. Minute 0 to 10, you wake up to the sound of the language, and you use habit stacking in the bathroom for contextual anchoring, naming your sink and toothbrush to bypass the mental translation trap.
Beautiful.
Minute 10 to 25, during breakfast, you use the forest and trees method, reading target text while listening to native audio, using interlinear translations to absorb the grammar naturally. And finally, minute 25 to 30, you get moving, shadowing the audio out loud, or chatting with a zero-pressure AI to lock it all into your muscle memory.
It is a dense, highly structured half hour.
Yeah.
But the absolute secret here is consistency. Performing this 30-minute routine every single day is exponentially more effective than ignoring your target language Monday through Friday and then trying to cram for 3 grueling hours on a Saturday afternoon.
Cramming never works anyway.
Daily habituation builds the neural superhighways. Cramming just builds stress.
It really does. You don't need superhuman willpower. You just need a smart, consistent system. But before we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with one final kind of mind-blowing thought to mull over tonight.
Ooh, what is it?
We've spent this entire time optimizing your morning, but your brain's language learning doesn't actually stop when the sun goes down.
Far from it. If you maintain this new morning routine, try adding one microscopic habit right before your head hits the pillow.
Yeah.
Do a mental recap of your day in your target language. Just construct 2 or 3 really simple sentences in your head about what you did. I went to work, I ate an apple.
And here is why that tiny addition is so powerful. As you drift off to sleep, specifically into stage 2 light sleep, your brain produces these brief, powerful electrical bursts known as sleep spindles.
Sleep spindles.
Yeah. During this phase, your brain is actively sorting through the day's information. It is organizing memories, clearing out the junk, and actually practicing motor skills and vocabulary while you're completely unconscious.
That's wild.
If you prime your brain with those foreign sentences right before bed, those sleep spindles will go to work on that specific data.
You are essentially getting free language practice. You turn sleep itself into a cognitive tool. And if you're consistent with both the morning routine and the nighttime primer, you might just wake up one morning and realize you've actually started dreaming in your new language.
Which means that the entire endeavor isn't some impossible task after all. You don't need endless free time. You just need to hack your morning coffee routine, lean into the tiny habits, and let your brain do exactly what it was built to do. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.